awesome. Today on the first time storytelling broadcast, my guest is Clodagh Higgins. Clodagh, I keep feeling I'm saying it wrong.
If you
Claudia.
think of Yoda,
It rhymes with Yoda. Claudia.
Clodagh, Oda, Clodagh.
Clodagh.
There you go.
Clodagh.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Clodagh is a business coach and consultant for digital marketing agencies with Growit Group based in Ireland. You'll notice in her amazing accent, she is joining us from Ireland, but she does work globally. She's an ex-HubSpotter. She has worked with over 500 agencies around the world, helping them in the areas of sales and marketing. Claudia is here to share the story of her first time working as a business coach with digital agency owners. I am having a case of the Mondays.
That's all good.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. An absolute pleasure to be on the first time show. It's just such a great initiative. I want to congratulate you on it. And I look forward to being a part of the group and learning more about everyone that's involved in it too.
Oh, awesome. I really appreciate that. All right, so let's get into your story. So let's start out with what was your path to becoming a business coach?
Yeah, so I had been doing sales and marketing probably since I started off with a sales career when I was 24. I used to work for Dell Computers and a big American company. And I learned a lot about how to run a business through their methodology. It was amazing. And then I'd moved to Australia. I was down there for about 12 years. I was in Sydney. I left Dell, moved to Sony, and in Sony, I learned a lot about marketing, specifically about sales and marketing alignment. 2008, there was a lot of things happening with LinkedIn, with Facebook. Digital marketing was becoming a thing. And I started to learn more about digital marketing and ended up setting up a sales and marketing consulting business down in Sydney. To 2012, 2012, I think it was, I decided to move home. I was 39, I had a breakup. I was on the other side of the world and I was realizing, what am I doing so far away from my family? I love Australia, but it was too far away.
Yeah.
And yeah, that got me home and I started working for HubSpot because I know the agency world. I was working with hundreds and hundreds of agencies, teaching them how to use the HubSpot sales and marketing software. It's a marketing automation platform combined with website and CRM. And there I was talking to people about their marketing, about their sales, about everything that they needed to know in their business. And after a few months, agencies were starting to ask me questions about, how do I run this business? How do I hire people? Am I profitable? How do I become more profitable? And I realized that through the questions I was getting asked, that people needed help with running their business. So it was the job and the questions that made me go off and find the path of, God, I wonder which agencies have figured this out. And so I started to find agencies that had successfully turned a passion of sales and marketing and doing everything that they love to do into running profitable, successful businesses that were could run without them, like they could take time off. That's how I could, imagine.
The dream of every entrepreneur. At first, it's to build your business, and then eventually, can I get some time off?
Yeah. And so through all the conversations, I learned, I followed, I interviewed, I started to go, how did you get here? And I uncovered a really good business methodology called the Entrepreneurial Operating System. The book is a very simple book called Traction by Gino Wickman. You can start there, it takes 4 hours to read. And yeah, I just started hoovering up this information and sharing it with the agencies that I had. And that's what led me into the first time of becoming a business coach. It was solving the needs that were in the book of business that I was looking after at that time.
So how did it feel to like, so as you're adding all this knowledge and you're sharing it, like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was really satisfying to learn. I think every for me, I don't believe in age as a oh, I'm too old to learn that. I'm on TikTok. I'm one of those people,
So
dancing.
speaking of TikTok, this is my week. This is my week, and my big first this week is I am going on TikTok.
Oh, and I'm telling you now, and follow me. And it is the most incredible platform because it's full of people who are teaching other people how to, it's like training wheels. There are people out there. I have a friend who came on the same time, and we would tag each other and go, check out this video, check out this video. It's very different from anything you've experienced before. It's really intuitive. So you get on there and I'll help you with the videos that will get you your training wheels. But back to, yes, I don't have any limits on I'm too old for that. I love learning. I love learning new things. I love not knowing the answer to something and finding out from people who do. I'm a big believer in you don't have to make the wheel yourself. The wheel is out there. The wheel has been broken and fixed and over again. So the feeling was incredible because I feel like I'm alive when I'm learning something new. I don't feel stale. I really enjoy that experience. And then, of course, sharing that with other agency owners who were stuck, just to be able to unblock them, to be able to talk to them, to tell them that it's okay, you didn't do anything wrong. It's not a problem. You shouldn't know this. You don't need to know this, but now you do. So the feeling of helping people discover for themselves was incredible as well. So it was like the more I would give them advice, the more I wanted to learn. So it kind of fills it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it keeps going. And it led to some amazing things as well. I do believe in following your intuition and going, why am I interested? I'm interested in that. I don't know where this is going to go. And it actually led to my first podcast because the person I interviewed who'd figured out her agency, Marissa Smith, we did a podcast series together to share with other agency owners. So I think figuring something out for myself the first time opened other doors. It's that feeling, and it might not be the thing you do, but it opens another door because you take a step forward and you can always look back and go, oh, on a bad day, you can go, oh, but I did this and I did that. And, it gives you a sense of confidence, I think, when you have that feeling of stepping into it, doing
I love
something
it.
for the first
Yeah,
time.
because you're really explaining what that flow is like. And one is that there's no age limit to learning. That is a thing that is available to us at all time. And that curiosity of wanting to learn, starts you up on that journey of, I'm going to go explore this, and I'm going to apply it. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, what about this? And it opens these doors, and you walk through them. You don't know where they're going to lead, but you're following your curiosity. You're following the learning. You're sharing what you're learning. You're more excited because when you learn something, you want to share with others, and then that strengthens your relationship. It creates new relationships. So it's such an amazing journey to go on because of where all the different places that leads. Now,
Yeah.
I'm curious, as an entrepreneur and being in the startup world, I'm curious on, with everyone that you help, what were the trends? Like, where were people getting stuck the most?
Yeah. And I'll answer that in a second. And just before that is I'm speaking of my dad, I want to link him in. It's like, he's 73, look at me, but he is super young. He still is an advisor on boards. He's chairman of the local football team because he still does things for the first time. He'll learn things. I'm expecting him to be on TikTok soon. It's like he has always tried things out and figured things out and listens to music and goes on social media. So it's not only good for your business, it's good for your health. It's good for your attitude. It's good for making you look and feel younger as well. So overall. But first, back to the entrepreneur thing. The biggest barrier that I've seen over and over again, or trend or challenge or whatever you want to call it, is as entrepreneurs, we are very, very different breed of people. We're motivated in a certain way. We're driven. We're the kind of people, I'll ask you this question, Anne. How many books are you reading at the moment?
That's a very coach thing to do. She turned it right back on me. How many? 3?
Yeah. You ask an employee that and they'll go, what do you mean? How many? I'm reading 1, right? As entrepreneurs, we are very comfortable starting things, realizing we want to hop over to something else, and we're totally good at that. We're totally fine with that. We're totally fine at starting a project and going, I don't think this is businessly viable for me. I'm going to stop it. When we work with employees, they need very, very different things. They like to start work at 9 or 5. They like to know their starting times. They like to know when they can take a holiday. They like to know their promotion paths. They like to know what they're expected of in a project. They want things written out for them. They really get a satisfaction from finishing things. Entrepreneurs get a satisfaction from starting things. So I think the biggest thing that I uncovered was the difference between entrepreneurs and employees. And if you can figure out what the people that work with you need, whether they're part-time, freelance, it doesn't matter, work with them to the best, you will get the best out of yourself, and stop going, oh, I can't believe they're not like me. They'll never be like you. If they were like you, they'd have their own business. So that's been the biggest one I've seen, is that understanding you're 2 different people, understanding that entrepreneurs do not, they need their employees to have a business. They need them, but the employees do not need entrepreneurs to have a job. They're choosing to work with you. So you've got to understand, why do they want to work with you? What do they expect out of it? What are they needing from this relationship? And then figure out the best way to give it to them.
That's really fabulously said. Yeah, it's one of, I realized that a long time ago. It made a big difference, but it was a constant realization. I think even now, it's tying it back to sales and marketing, is also that people don't think the way that you do. And I really had to realize the way that information is presented to me is not the same way that other people need the information presented to them. And it's a bit of a difficult gymnastic sometimes to do, because it's tough. Like, you need other people that are in those shoes, because you can't you don't even have the capability to put yourself in those shoes, because you don't think that way. You're not wired that way. And you have to go out and say, you're my market. You're somebody that I'm trying to appeal to. How do you think? What do you think of this?
Exactly. Yeah, it's so true. But once you figure that out, you can have whatever business you want. And once both sides figure it out and you go, okay, this is what I expect from you. This is what I need from you. This is how I'm going to give you all these things. Can you give me these things? You have much better business and much better peace of mind. I see a lot of frustrations in entrepreneurs who go, why don't they feel as passionate about the business as I do? You know this? And it's like, they don't care about the business as much as you do. They never will. It's yours,
And that can be a lonely place to be. So it is really great to have a business coach, to have someone who understands what you're going through, even though they're not as passionate about it as you are. They're passionate about you. So they can provide you, that support and that understanding. Otherwise, it's a lonely place to be. And even if you have business partners, if it wasn't, it's whoever the holder of the idea who came up with it, especially when you're talking about like the true startup entrepreneur that is trying to create something that doesn't exist, that weight of, oh, people don't feel about it the same way I do, and why aren't they excited, and why do they not support me at the level that I would want it to, is a tough pill to swallow sometimes.
Yeah. And along with that as well, like it's also turning around to the entrepreneur and saying no, and going, that's a great idea, but not right now. Or the reason your team isn't getting excited about the idea isn't, it's because it's not presented in an employee way. You've presented it in an entrepreneur, big picture, yada, yada. And they're like, you kind of dump it and go, can you figure out the steps? However, that was another kind of revelation apart from the human aspect, was if you sit down as an entrepreneur and actually write out the steps, you have to do all the work. You just have to write the framework. You will get super engagement with the employees, because not only can they get behind the idea, you've given them a map for how to get there. I think that I use a lot of boating analogy. I don't know why, because I'm not a sailor, but imagine getting like super excited about this island that you're going to go to, but you haven't told them where the boat is, what the conditions are. Is there any food on the boat? Is it champagne sailing, or is it like a really hard boat? Like, you haven't told them any of that, but you want them excited about the island. No, they're not going to get excited about the island.
Yeah.
So you map it out. You go, okay, this is my idea, and here are the 20, 30, whatever steps are involved. You go, look, I don't care how you do them. You figure that out, but at least they can go, yay idea, yay steps. But you also have to promise that you will let them finish those steps. You can't turn around in step 10 and go, it's not going to be a great business. Viability might not be viable for the business. And you might go, it's not going to work. Please let your employees finish it. Just let them finish it. You can park it afterwards. They don't mind that you park it afterwards, but don't take their satisfaction away from them, because they love finishing things like books, like projects, right? Not like us who've things half around. Loads of half things done.
I love the way that you're explaining it all, because it is true. And as you're stating those things, it is reminding me of the many things that I have changed in myself and that I have. But one of the things about not just being an entrepreneur, but about self-development, is the ability to exist in multiple states at one time, to hold the understanding of those requirements, of those things that other people need. Here's who I am, here's what other people need, and I can, it's seeing the forest and on the trees at the same time. It's doing all of those things. If you are gonna really make it big time, or you're fully going to reach your potential, or go to that next level, it's learning those abilities to do that. And you have to be coachable in order to do that. But so let's talk a little bit about your journey though. So those are the trends that you notice. What happened in your journey? So you had the first time you started realizing the additional information and assistance and coaching that you could provide. So how did you make your transition away from just sales and marketing to becoming a full-time business coach?
Yeah, so by following that lead, by exploring that, I started to have lots of conversations with people, and I became known as the person inside in HubSpot who could help everyone on the floor who had agencies that were coming to them with bigger problems. So what would happen was I would just go, okay, there's this book, start with the book. I've read the book. Here's some agencies, they figure things out. So I started to build a little bit of methodology. When an agency would run into a problem that was not sales and marketing, I became the kind of go-to person. And I think this is important for people who are sitting in a company thinking about, where do I go next? Sometimes you got to make your own promotion by following what you want to do. You can see a gap and you educate yourself, and then you educate around you. I got promoted inside in HubSpot to go on to another team that was specializing in helping agencies further. And that's how it happened. It hadn't been there. The job wasn't there. I didn't know the job was there. All of a sudden it became available because I was solving the problems that were coming to my table. I'd found a way to do that. And through that, then outside the company, a mergers and acquisitions team who was merging agencies all around Europe, they heard about me inside in HubSpot, and they came in and offered me a position to go, look, we're going to be merging companies together. Are you interested in creating Growit Group? And that's where I became a part owner of the business. And I had a choice, it was like, do I want to stay here? But I had loved working with HubSpot. I'd been part of the company. I was definitely one of the first older people to work in the company. The average age was 25. I was 40. I was older than the managing director. I was older than my boss. I was older than everyone, but it didn't stop me. I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and I could have stayed, but it had got really big. The company I'd started in Dublin, it was like 42 people. We knew everyone. We had a great time. Once it got to 150 people, I really felt like I didn't know people. That there's a sort of a comfortable number of people to work with in your circle. And for me, I didn't know people. I was like, do they work here? I don't know. And it was the right time. I look at jobs, and I mentor and coach people all the time. And I look at jobs like a party. The party, when someone goes, do you want a lift? I'm going now, right? And you have a drink in your hand. And you're like, will I go? No, I'll stay another hour. Like, there's sometimes you stay at the party too long and you can't get a taxi and you can't get home, and it's not fun anymore. Sometimes you stay so long that you end up having to sleep over and clean up the next morning because you feel so bad. Sometimes, the part, sometimes you're like, no, I've left at exactly the right time. I'm not too drunk. I say this is an Irish person. There's always, if you think about the party, I feel like work is like a party, and you have to think about, is this the right time to leave for me? Because sometimes if you stay too long, it's not enjoyable anymore.
So when this opportunity came, you knew it was time to leave.
I felt like there was nothing, I was going, let's do it. It was also a real benefit. I was still involved in the ecosystem of HubSpot. I still am. I still have HubSpot agencies who are clients. I interview them on a podcast. So it became a natural thing. And then it just led to me becoming a full-time business coach, specializing with agencies, but I can work with any business. The challenges are generally the same.
Oh, well, that's awesome. So it's a first time that came through learning that led to new opportunities, and now where you are today. And doesn't mean that's where you're going to stay, but it's like
that's no idea. But yeah, it's taking those steps. I don't think there's anything stopping anyone. Shouldn't be age, shouldn't be experience. Actually, I was listening to a great podcast yesterday with Brian Rose from London Real. Great podcast to check out. And he was interviewing Dr. Joe Vitale. And they were talking about when you're thinking about doing something and your brain kind of goes, oh no, I couldn't do that. What evidence did you have that you can't do it? So what evidence, if you want to do something, you haven't done it before, you want to do something for the first time, and your brain says no, go and find what evidence do you have that you shouldn't do it?
Yeah, so you'll see it when you join the 365 First Challenge group, because we actually have a manifesto. And one of the things that's part of it is like, I rather fail, make a fool of myself, look at like an ass, than not try, than not have that first time. And we talk about the truth of first time and new experiences. And that first time is always the most uncomfortable. And because it is the unknown, you don't know what to expect. But if you accept that that is a truth, it is true that the first time is going to be uncomfortable. I know this, I accept it, I do it anyways, right? And it's to be surrounded of a community of people that have that mindset, because they, one, have that understanding, but two, they know what's on the other side, what's in the other side of that, or what's through that experience, because that first time is going to have an impact. You're the sum of your experiences. Everything started with a first time. You have that first time, you know what it's like, and then you decide what you want to do afterwards. And whether you are an entrepreneur or not, you don't need to finish anything. There's no requirement to finish things. You can start it, decide, I don't like it. Now, there's benefits to having grit. Now, if you really want to finish it and it's difficult, then yes, there's you want to have the grit to see it through and get the support and encouragement to see it through. But if you're no longer interested, well, leave it and go try something else,
Try something else.
because
Absolutely.
your brain just loves having the experience, having the exposure to novelty. It is so good for your brain chemicals, for doing neuroplasticity, and just the benefits are endless of what that brings and what that does for you. And yeah, and we also talk, I do a program called Maximize Your Journey, and we talk about fears, how you have founded fears because you had the experience before, therefore you have the fear, or unfounded fears, you're
Oh,
afraid and you don't even know why. So yeah, it's
wow.
like, let's explore, why am I even afraid? Where did I pick it up from? Or sometimes I don't even bother. It's like, I don't care why well, actually, I don't have a lot of fear anymore about anything, but it is like, no, I'm just going to do it. So I think with TikTok, it's one of those things, I've been wanting to be on it forever, and finally, and it's about the mindset. I'm like, all right, this week is the week. There was just so much, like, I don't TikTok is something that I want to follow through on. So I'm like, I'm not going to start it till I know I'm going to follow through on it. But
Yeah.
it sounds from everyone that I've talked to that it's such a connected, interactive, like, community. And
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter are not that anymore. They're messaging, they're marketing, they're advertising,
Yeah.
versus people having interaction. So I'm like, let me go
Yeah, it's
explore
true.
what that's like.
And I think that with the social media, the last few months, well, weeks specifically, they've been polarizing. They've kind of gone, you're right, you're wrong. It's been a bit of that going on, where there's a lot of freedom happening over in TikTok. Look forward to seeing you over there, Anne.
Yeah,
And by the
well,
way, I don't do any dances. I did a little dance once, but just for the crack. But no, I don't do any dancing. And in fact, I've been on there for a while, but I'm trying to figure out, what am I drawn to, and what I went on for and what I'm drawn to are totally different things. So yay, can't
yeah,
wait to see
yeah,
you on
go,
there. I'll
yeah, I
share
will.
my resources
I
with
will
you.
go find you, absolutely. And it's too late because you're like 9 hours or 8 hours ahead, so it'll be too late. But we're because when we do the 65 first challenge online events, they're kind of late. But because, speaking of dancing, we're going to do a tutting class next week. One of
What's
my
that?
So it's dancing with your fingers and your arms. So you can do it sitting down.
Wow.
So one of my interns brought it up, and I was the same thing. I was like, what is that?
What
And
is
so
that?
I looked it up. I'm like, this is so cool. I'm like, let's do it. And and he's a young guy, and like, he loves doing it because he's like, it doesn't matter how old you are, even if you can't walk, he expresses himself through dancing. So he
Brilliant.
loves it because, again, you could be wheelchair bound or older, and nothing stops you from tutting.
Well, I'm loving learning something new for the first time. Tutting. I'm adding that to my list.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
So let's switch over and let's play the first time lightning round. Let's learn a
yes.
few
Go.
more things from you. Okay. So the way it works is, I'm going to ask 10 different first time option. If something you've done before, then you would swipe up on the app. So it's just up. Something you've never done, not interested, we go left. And if something you've never done, would like to do, we go right. We add it to the
Oh,
list. Okay.
cool.
Go to a street festival.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, do you remember your first one, where it was and what the theme was? And
Yeah, really lucky here in Ireland. We've got a lot of, where I am in the west of Ireland, big arts community. And I think I would have been like a teenager or even a kid going to, it was outdoor. There's places where there isn't drinking. So when you're super young, so there's little areas. And there's just a massive arts community here and street festivals on. Hopefully maybe even this summer, we might even have smaller ones. But yeah, it would have been here in my hometown, and live music, Irish music, outdoors, even in the rain, doesn't matter. It's kind of mild.
very nice. Awesome. Okay. Dress up a pet.
Oh, no. So that's down, is it?
That's
No.
oh,
No.
never. If you've never done it, don't want to do it, it's left. And if you've never done, would like to do it, it's right.
Oh, right.
Right.
Definitely.
Give that a go.
I would, yes, I would. I used to have pets when I lived in Australia and had to give them up when I came home. And we grew up with pets. And since I've been locked in, I heard you have a dog there. So I was like, oh, Sue, you know what you get, like, you know, when people get clucky because they want a kid, I'm so probably going to steal an animal soon. I'm just like dying for, do you know when you get to that, you're going, I see
Yeah.
dogs on the beach and I'm like, maybe I'll just run off and grab them. So I'm at that stage. So absolutely, I'll be all up for that.
They're all up for that. There's a pet in your future and a dress up time at some point.
Totally.
Okay, go fishing.
Yes.
Done that. Did you
Yes.
did you catch something your first time?
I have one of those stories where I actually hooked a marlin off the coast of Samoa on Christmas. I was like deep sea fishing, first time deep sea fishing, and hooked a marlin. And thanks be to goodness it got away, because I think I'd be really upset if we killed a marlin. But yeah, I hooked a
Oh.
marlin and nearly had my shoulder blades ripped off me. And I have it's one of those stories that men really want to have, and I'm like blasé about it.
Still a great story. And well, I'm glad he got away too. And
I'm
that
glad he got away as well. But we caught some tuna after that. And oh, it was the most amazing feeling having the tuna, eating that fresh. It was like off the boat, onto the ice, into the kitchen, out onto our plate. Incredible.
yeah. Oh, yummy. Okay, take a ceramic class.
Yes. I used to actually be a mosaic artist. So I've love the ceramics and smashing them
Very
so that I
nice.
can make something else.
Yeah. I need to add that to the list, mosaic. I have to
Oh,
put that on my list. I don't have it on my
incredible.
list. I don't have it on the 365 First Challenge list. So
Yeah, incredible learnings from mosaics. The Greeks and the Romans, and it's phenomenal. Yeah, but I've done
yeah.
mosaic art in my time.
Okay. Get a tattoo.
No.
No. That's a
I am
left. Would not
that
get a
is a
tattoo.
no. That's a definitely not. Well, can you ever say never? My mom has one. My sister has one. My brother-in-law has one. I do not have any. I don't. I love art. I love seeing it. I just have never seen something that I've gone, I would like to see that on my body.
Yeah.
But I love the art. I
Yeah.
think the art is incredible. I think that what people do and what they create and the story and what it means to people. I watched hours of Miami Ink, hours of LA Ink, because of the relationship, you know, somebody coming in with the story and the meaning, and it transferred, and what happens, the energy is incredible between the tattoo artist and the person receiving the tattoo. It's healing sometimes. It's
Yeah.
incredible. But
But yeah, there has to be something. There has to be a symbol. There has to be an image. There has to be something because it's quite permanent. Yeah.
right, it is. Yeah. And yeah, so at the moment, kind of a pending. We will see.
Okay. Because you never know. I like that.
I
Yeah.
don't like saying no. I say
Yeah.
try everything. Try most things once and again if you like them.
I did one of my episodes on the 365 First podcast. On Wednesdays, I release a first time story, one of my own story. And as I was telling the story of my first tattoo and my only tattoo, and it's of an eagle. And ever since I was a kid, I always had a significance of freedom. So it meant something to me. So when I told the story, I realized more and more of what the meaning behind it was. And then the fact that tattooing on my body led me to live up to it, to what that symbol meant. And then it made me realize it's the only first time that I'm going to take to my grave. It's my first
Really
tattoo.
amazing. Isn't that
Yeah.
such an insight? I love that.
I was like, oh, How
There
about
you go.
that? Yeah, it's a representation of who I am, and I will take it to the grave.
Beautiful.
Okay, so next one. Drive an Audi R8.
No.
No,
And I would like to.
we would like to, yeah.
I love
Very
cars.
nice.
I love driving. I love cars. I love four-wheel driving. I'd love to race. I think I'd be really good at racing. I've
Oh,
done rally driving, like not perfect, but I've been in a rally car. Love it.
so next time you come to Las Vegas, there's the exotic cars racing. So you take an exotic car and you race it around the racetrack. So
Yes,
at
please.
the beginning of the year, I went and drove a Ferrari, and I want to go back and do a Lamborghini. So when you come back to Las Vegas, we will go drive some exotic cars together.
Count me in as long as I can reapply for my visa, because right now I can't.
Yeah. Right
That's
now.
another episode.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Eat at a food truck.
Oh yes, I've been to spent a lot of time in Boston. Best place for food. I think that's where it was all kind of invented, wasn't it? The food truck area. Well, I come out of there, could have been. Yep, love.
Yep.
And there's loads here in the summer. They have loads of them in Ireland too in the summer. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Dance the merengue.
I feel like yes is the answer, but I might not remember it very
Right. Fair enough. Okay. Participate in a charity auction.
Oh, was I in the auction? Was I one of the prizes, or was I participating?
Either way, but I think being one of the prizes makes it all that much more interesting.
It would make it much more interesting. Was I one of the prizes?
Because it could be coaching. It could be an hour of business coaching.
Could have been, yeah.
For a charity
probably
auction.
would have attended a lot of charity auctions, but not been the prize. But I think I would like to be the prize. I will nominate myself as a prize for the next charity auction.
All right. So adding that to the list. And I think you've done this before. I'm just curious what it is. The first one, launch a product.
Yes. Well, the book was the first launch, and then I have an online. I turned the book into an online course. Yeah. Did that. Yeah.
What's the name of the book?
Happy Healthy Digital Agency.
Happy Healthy Digital Agency. It rhymes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Available on Amazon and
all the things. I even read it out myself, which was
oh, so the audiobook is you reading it.
Oh yes, it is.
How was that experience?
Oh, like walking in a swamp with cement shoes. It was horrific. Oh, it was one of the most, yes, it was a very challenging experience because I was hallucinogenically optimistic about the time it was going to take me to do it, because I do a lot of videos and I'm good at reading a script because I like to get it done. But I was not even half a chapter into the book and realized that you have to say all the words and you can't speak for more than like 40 minutes. You can't ad lib. You have to put energy in it, but you can't read for like 4 hours at a time. Oh, it took me like, I think like 10 times longer than I thought it was going to be. And it was very funny. It was actually laughing at it now, but not at the time, because I think after the first day, the producer was like, Michelle Obama did hers, and I was like, yeah, I'm like Michelle Obama. I'm not like Michelle Obama, but I'm like, I'm sure she had a lot more time. And then he turned around and went, do you know some people hire an actor for this? Oh, and I was like, and he'd say things like, would you like to read that sentence out again? And I would be like, no, I don't want to read that sentence out again. In fact, I want to burn the book, pretend I never wrote it, and walk out of here and have a drink. How about that? Hard work. It was hard work. And anyone I listen to who's written their own book and doing, oh, I have such respect for them. Oh, I'm like, go for you.
Yeah, there's nothing like doing it yourself to know what it takes and to appreciate those who do it. Yeah, I tried.
That
So
could be a
I
first time and last time. That could be my tattoo, Anne. I could be.
That's good to know. So I've written and self-published a couple books in a life series, and I decided I was going to read it, on YouTube, and I kind of had that similar experience where it's like, it really sucks doing this. Like I'm not enjoying. I should enjoy reading my own words,
Yeah.
yet hmm, no, I do
No,
not. So I don't think I would
no.
venture into doing my own audiobooks.
When you have a producer there looking at you, bless
That's
him.
even
You
worse.
know, it was like,
Yeah.
looking at me. I was going, no. I actually
You
want to forget.
should
Like,
you should check out you should check out Kevin Hart's book. It's a few years old now and I forget what it's called, but he reads it. He does not stay on cue and it's hilarious.
oh, that was it. I was listening to Mike Milkovich, who does it's Profit First is his first book, but his new book is Fix This Next. And I just, as I was out for my walk, he does announce at the beginning of the book, he went, and obviously, I'm reading the book myself, and there's some insights. I was going, insights, i.e. an excuse to go off track. Like, I knew what he was doing, and I thought, that's what I'll do for my next book. I'll be reading the book, but there'll also be some insights. Yeah, I go off track, come back on again.
Well, that's what Kevin Hart does, and it's priceless. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
that's
I mean, I was
brilliant.
laughing so hard. Yet he passes such really great information as far as like what all the hard work that he put in and what it was like. But then he'll
Yeah.
go completely off track, and he starts out and he's like, "This is the first book I've ever read."
Oh, I know. Because I think that would be a much more entertaining for you and for the listener if you go, because there was some sentences I went, what did I write that for? Like, what do I mean by that? And then I wanted to go, what I mean. And then the producer's like, well, that's not in the book. And I was going, can I put it in the book? Can you write the book? So anyway, that was the first time reading the book. We'll see. I'm going to do the Kevin Hart way. Thank you for that tip, Anne. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So couple other questions. So we went through the first time lightning round. We added some new things to your list, but are there certain things that are on your list that you want to try out for the first time?
Yeah, getting married. That would be nice. I'm single right now, so I don't know how that's going to happen. So getting married would be great. What else?
That's funny because that's one I know that I will never experience. That's one that I'm like, that's never getting on my list. It's not going to happen.
There you go.
All right. Well, that's
applications. Please send applications through. I'm currently interviewing. No.
We will include how to contact Clodagh, so
go to my LinkedIn profile.
Can do that. Okay, so final question is, how have you been making the best out of the current pandemic situation?
Oh, actually, interesting enough, you were talking there about, when you don't want to finish something, like, and I totally understand that. Through a friend of mine, I learned about Andy Frisella's 75 Hard Challenge, which at the beginning of the pandemic, I will hands up, got very sucked into, oh my God, this is the end of the world. Wine, cheese, and bread, and 24-hour news will help me. Clearly the worst combination ever. And after a few weeks of that, I thought, I don't really want to come out of this looking like a puffer fish. So what'll I do? So I found through a friend of mine, brilliant, just simple challenge. It's free. It's more about mindset. It's about your mind, and really, really interesting. So you do 6 things for 75 days, and it's great. It's just really simple. Couple of workouts, gallon of water, read a book, clean diet, that kind of, no cheat meal. So 75 days of doing something, and it has been like my life buoy, like my whenever days have been really tough, I can turn around and tick off, well, at least I did 75 hard, you know. And then on the good days, it's just kept me really buoyant. So I feel like having that as a backbone, like having a routine, because no day has been the same. I feel like I've been in a Zoom hamster wheel. Um, that has been a really good thing that I believe I will continue on in a different form. Like as I'm 64 days through, there's only a few days left. I feel like I could do it again and do it better. Um, and learning new things. I've been really lucky with my business coaching. People have realized, gee, I really need to do this work. I have a podcast and I've got new sponsors through the podcast. So I've been really lucky work-wise. It's been more or less the same, and I'm very grateful for the time and the energy to just spend with new clients. But I've been learning as well. I'm taking some courses, I'm learning new things, I'm taking care of myself, and just realizing that I'm ready for whatever comes next, by being strong in mind and in body, and just being resilient, I think, and just ready for whatever is coming for us next.
Oh, well, very awesome. And good mindset, attitude, way of looking at it and processing everything. So, and that pays off. Those those are the things to put in place to get through and thrive through the
Yes.
current situation, for sure. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much. Thank you for the laughs and the stories, and getting to know you has been, it just warms my heart. Great way to start a Monday.
Oh, brilliant. Me too. And I can't wait to dive into the group and reach out. And if anyone has any questions or they need a hand with anything, always here. And yeah, I hope to see you in Vegas soon, as soon as I'm allowed back into the country.
Yeah. There's no two-way traffic between Europe and
No,
the United
it's
States.
like, I'm like, I've been coming for 24 years. Let me in. I don't want to
Yeah.
stay. I promise I don't want to stay. I want to come home.
I would love to make a return to Europe, and it's one of those like, I don't know when that's going to be in the
I
world of
know.
possibilities. So,
We're all sitting around waiting for everything to open. I have a friend in
yeah,
Nigeria. He got stuck there, and it looks like the plane. He's getting a flight out in a few days. So, fingers crossed. We'll all see. But
yeah.
Vegas, definitely one of my spiritual homes.
All right. Well, I expect to meet you in person down the
Can't
road.
wait. Can't wait.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your week.
You too. I'll see you really soon. Take care. Thank you so much for this.